So long as he's due, give it to him. And I did it. I promoted him from assistant manager to a manager in charge of materials. I'm saying this just to buttress my point that for the president to make that bold step, one, to visit an opposition factory and to make recommendation instructing that the Greek minister must ensure that they consume his chicken, make ready payment for him, and he should do this jointly with the education ministry so that we all build this country together.
And of Western Association Bium, anti Titus Glover of MPP, Aba Bonting, Ababe applaud your Mampeni Mahama. Apart from applauding, no, or some Mampeni Mahama move no making, no, it's a very good move. Didn't say Ghana higher way as a country. Party be opposition, na party be aba into power kase debi. I want to work with this person in opposition. They making a Titus Glover say, or Mampeni Mahama move away we make it. Oni Maurice B. A person ye Juman ye Maurice B. Portrait ye a poultry a farm or ye. In fact, industry can say or ye. Or so be partner with Maurice B. Any dear say farming no moya and cook on the omit media bois school feeding on farm school feeding with Ghana education. So decision way no Mampeni Mahama taking no. According to Titus Glover say a very good move. Na ya idea say Ghana is so as a country be boying. Yenjai say and our buying way bar. They say I was a company being confirmed. So buying way bar. I was a company being confirmed. So be observe ya Ghana higher one. Say party be bar power. Other companies a confirm. Na other companies a cosro. Na sadie way and on Mampeni Mahama no taking the move no buy and one genie NDC for Ngwa. Also when they say a Maurice B. Our farm. Into sadia or fixing not of war. Mepe se beti in Samuel Maurice B. Edibetu Yandia or applaud your Mampeni Mahama. Ye ba more stories concerning the OSP BDB Ebebrem.
Maurice B. the poultry farmer.
Yeah, the poultry farmer. Oh, wow. A friend of mine. And the president was there to visit his place. And in the video, I saw Boris sharing a word with the president, but that didn't come out audibly. So all of a sudden I realized that the president called Honorable Rikopoko, the Agric minister, and he gave me some orders that look, don't you see that these students in this SHS, we can use his products, the chicken, to feed the students. Then the Get Fund can pay, you know, just to make sure that we consume what you produce here. And I realize this is a very good step. And somebody will say that, look, we have experiences where in the past opposition businesses have been collapsed because he's an opposition. So let's collapse his business. But for that initiative that the president has done, that encouraging him to produce more, there's a ready market where students in our country will have access to this chicken to be consumed. There's a ready payment system from Get Fund to support it. I think that it's something that I need to dull my heart for the president for what he has done. Because you see, when you politicize all these things, it doesn't help us. We can criticize ourselves. This budget, I'm going to punch him on it. But for what he has done, I think that it is important that we move away from these partisan lenses while to collapse. I was a CEO in Vaco. There are a lot of NDC guys there, including MPP people. I never thought for once, Rashid, that anybody who was due for promotion, a lot of them there. I did not look at their partisan colors. It is because they are due for it. It is because there's a justification for it. There's a guy in Newtown, I'll mention his name. He's called Evans Achete, a serious critic of Titus Glover on social media. When I got to Vaco, my first training for 3 months, I started from carbon operations. From carbon, they have 3 plants: carbon operation, carbon bake, and rodding room. And these are the guys who were taking me through all this orientation. Then his promotion came with other people. I saw this thing, I said, look, Titus Glover, this is not about politics. Okay? So long as he's due, give it to him. And I did it. I promoted him from assistant manager to a manager in charge of materials. I'm saying this just to buttress my point that for the president to make that bold step, one, to visit an opposition factory, and to make recommendation instructing that the what they call the Greek minister must ensure that they consume his chicken, make ready payment for him, and he should do this jointly with the education ministry, so that we all build this country together.
In that of war, send a motive in common. This according to Titus Glover. Any year all hippie praises. In fact, or shower. I applaud Mahama on this move we take it. Out of war, you know, say this move Mahama take it. Under the former regime, a year Kufuor Rabbi and common yasadian. And when I'm out a year, Titus Glover, Ababonting, in common, because Maurice B is a pro NPP person. Titus Glover no grow din common, and also NPP person. No more what national motion, you might be a coso, mistakes be on more year now, one can so many to and I know, say, they will learn from this. So when you have decided when yeah, because very bad say Ghana as a country, baby a year Bruce here now or abayin be bar. Next I was a company being suffer. We all know banking sweep ups. In fact, banking cleanups is a banking sweep ups. Bar so banks are so fire. Ni na no is concerning and away am buying away yama buying. I was a minyadi and me crop for company in Costro against the other people. And can't be as a banking cleanup was a banking sweep ups in a bar. So and it ended up affecting a lot of banks. I don't want to mention names. Even not banks alone, a lot of businesses. Into one penny mama move where we're taking on. I think that it is something both parties have to learn from it. Now, out of why there's some common way in it to China say OSP. I'm out for pushes and kebeya or man penny mama on Pamu OSP because he's not helping. Yes, video we say our this side of Amra.
I think they should look at this whole idea of prior approval that the Constitution didn't say vetting. It said prior approval of Parliament. There ought to be another way of when they look at your CV and they've done your background checks. If they are calling you for any vetting, then there are specific areas they want you to clarify. Otherwise, Parliament should do an acclamation and you go. And then if you go and you can't deliver, your appointer is there, he will sack you. Yeah. But they keep all of us glued to television. And we are sitting down there and watching a process that 95% of is a joke. If the AG says he wants a docket now, and you can have an excuse, and the AG is getting jittery, you can understand that you have even told Ghanaians that way back you tried to stop the man because you had reasons to stop him. 1 year into a regime, you are still investigating. So what is the basis for seeking to stop him previously? And the Constitution is very clear. Some people even still think that his position is untenable in view of the Constitution. But there's a small provision in it that I understand. In his enabling enactment, he prosecute on the authorization of the AG. So how can it be then that he is on equal footing with the AG?
That the AG has authorized?
Absolutely. In his enabling enactment, the OSP's enabling enactment, he can prosecute with the authorization of the AG. So it's not as if it's between he and the AG, there's a split of power. The power is in the AG. So it is not, it's clear in my mind that he can't say, oh, there seems to be, he has to acknowledge that the AG, insofar as his work is concerned, is the overall, is the repository of power. Yeah. OSP shall be independent. OSP shall be independent. And so you see in the first line of his section 4 also, they say, oh, he shall not be subject to the direction and control. I say, right following that, then they say that he shall prosecute on the authorization of the AG subject to Article 88. Wow. Because the AG's powers are not from the statute, from an act of parliament. They are from the Constitution. So he has overriding power. And the Constitution says that every criminal proceeding in this country shall be instituted by the Attorney General. How can an act of parliament take that away from the AG? That is not, it can't be correct. The AG is the overriding center of power insofar as criminal prosecution is concerned, and the act that establishes the OSP acknowledges it. So let's have some clarity on it, and let's have some humility in terms of power. he acknowledges that, I'm sure he will work very well with the AG, and he doesn't have to explain to us that we're friends and we understand what we are doing. It's not what you are doing. You do what the law says you should do. Nobody cares what your relationship with him is. How this OSP from 2014 to 2015, when they said there shall be an OSP who will make sure that all of this is dead, and we are seeing nothing. We are only seeing talk, and talk which doesn't add up, talk which is only annoying.